Welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the evolving originator. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is someone who started in the business cold calling refinances out of a phone book and still actually has the business cards from her very first two customers, a loan officer, a team leader, and a branch manager who stepped away from originating for nearly a decade to serve other loan officers, then built back her pipeline from scratch and did it by dreaming up a VIP club that had competing real estate agents calling to ask her who was at the top of the leaderboard. Belinda Price, welcome to the Lowdown.
Thank you, Connor, for having me.
Absolutely. Belinda, I'm really excited to get this conversation underway. I have loved this concept of the VIP group and all that. So we'll get to all of that and your story. But kind of what I mentioned or referenced in the introduction, I mean, you started in the business cold calling refinances off of green sheets. You had your daughter teach you your eighths, and your first two customers still took you out for pizza when it was all over. What was it like learning the technical side of the job from scratch, and when did that light bulb finally go on for you?
Wow, really good question, Connor. So, as you said, when I very first started in the business, a good friend of mine said, "Oh, Belinda, you'll be great at this. Come on into the office." I was hired. I didn't even know, like you said, I didn't know my eighths. I didn't know what basis points were. I just knew that was my compensation. So we started really from scratch, and I started. With that manager teaching me how to fill out an application. So back then they were 1003s, not the IRLAs. So we were filling out the applications by hand in ink. We had one computer for the office. So really learning the business back then was technically just kind of fill in the blanks. And we were, manually filling out good faith estimates and truth in lending. We had to know how to use our calculators. But the light bulb went off really about the technical side and then joining the sales side to it probably 6 months in, when I really realized that I was not just in the business of taking applications, but actually in the business of problem solving, putting together a puzzle and creating a mortgage for that specific customer and what they needed. About 6 months.
Yeah. So I hear that come up a lot. Like, this is the business, you're in the business of problem solving, and it's not sales, it's not taking the application, things like that. Why was that that mindset such a key shift for you? Did it put you in kind of a way of thinking that changed the way you saw your clients, or why did problem solving sort of make things click for you?
Well, I think because our industry is about like guidelines and trying to create a mortgage for that specific person. I mean, we have to go by the rules. So integrating those rules with a specific customer's needs is what happened. So if you're in a conversation with a client and they're saying, okay, this is my background, this is my history, I don't have a 2-year work history or something like that. In your mind, you're starting to put together, oh, okay, I remember that's probably not a FHA type of loan, that's a conventional type of loan. So you're putting the pieces of the puzzle together in your mind. So you're not really selling, you're trying to help this person get into a home. But I think that technically people can understand the guidelines and they can know that, but if they don't really listen to what their client is saying, you're trying to sell them a blue car when they're asking for a red one, that is what really comes into play. So you really need to understand the guidelines, plus the fact that you have to understand that not every loan is cookie cutter.
Yeah. So you have a successful origination career, then you go and spend 9 years as a non-originating manager. You're leading loan officers, kind of giving away your pipeline to do it. Then you moved to a new endeavor and had to go back to originating and essentially rebuild your business from nothing. What was that like, kind of crossing back over that line? And what did that experience really teach you about yourself?
Yeah. Well, that was very interesting. That the 10 years that I was non-originating, I like to say that I really kept my finger on the pulse of things because I was helping my loan officers structure loans and originate and get them through underwriting and things like that. I just wasn't in front of the customer. I was coaching my loan officers that I was serving to help them um, learn how to talk with customers and things. So I really kind of had to uh, practice what I was preaching when I came to the end of that non-originating manager position and I moved to an originating manager position. So I had to come up with something, Connor, really quickly to jumpstart my origination because I had been, going to meetings with loan officers, helping them, with real estate agents and things like that, financial advisors, and helping them create those relationships. And I really took myself out of those relationships. So what I had to do was figure out a way fairly quickly to start to generate business because in the loan origination business we know it's not immediate. Most people go under contract, it's 30 days, 45 days, and that's if you have a pipeline or a referral partner that's going to give you something today. So starting day one, I decided to work with my marketing team and put together uh, a VIP offering to referral partners. So it was a way for me to become different than every other loan officer in town because they were all going with the rate sheets and a box of donuts
Mhm.
to the real estate agent's office and trying to sell what everybody else in the area had for sale. So I really put together the VIP. Just I thought it was going to be just something consumer offering, right? That we could partner together. So one of them was they could choose from one of four things for their client. So if the client wanted the house rekeyed, or if they wanted 4 hours of cleaning service, or if they wanted to have an open housewarming party after closing, and I can't remember what the fourth one was, but basically what I did was I had that consumer facing, so we didn't have to worry about any kind of RESPA violations. And really, the real estate agents, I asked them. I said, I really only want 12 real estate agents to serve. Because I feel like going deeper into the relationship versus wider, instead of having 100 agents for me to call on a Tuesday morning, I only wanted 12. And I wanted those 12 to be the 12 agents that through thick and thin, if I messed up on a file or if my funder messed up on a file or my underwriter messed up on a file, we would be able to have a strong enough relationship to get through the mess up because we all know that happens. All the time. It's the mortgage business. But so what I wanted to do was make sure that I was presenting that VIP to them in a way that they would want to be part of the Cool Kids Club, basically,
Mhm.
and to generate that competition amongst themselves versus having them trying to go out and solicit my competition, another loan officer in the business. So that's how I approached it. I just went up to them, set up the meeting, um, told them about what I was planning to do, and if they wanted to be one of the 12 that was committed to giving me 10 deals a year. So
Love
I
that.
approached real estate agents that were producing more than 10
Yeah.
deals a year, but then and we I got my 12, and they would call me. One of the agents, she was really high producing agent, probably 60 to 80 units, and she wasn't on a team. That was herself, annually. And she would call me monthly to see where she was on the leaderboard. If more other partners had given more leads to me than her. So
Wow.
that was one of the things. It turned out to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant, really. Just a really smart way to create exclusivity, to have something unique to kind of talk about and offer that sets you apart from the other lenders in town, and to also really control your business in a way where you're not having to work with 100 different agents and make those different, go down the long list on Tuesday calls, but you've got your short list of dedicated partners that are competing to send you the most deal. Like you really leveraged a lot of the human element there, and so I think it was a really smart concept. How did that grow over time? Did you ever expand that beyond 12, or did you always just keep it really small and exclusive to that group?
I did. I kept it small and exclusive to that group for myself. But I did share the concept with loan officers that I hired, and to see if they could make it work for themselves. And a couple of them did, but it's true that you have to really um, uh, think, you have to do your homework. So when you're farming for those real estate agents, it's not, sometimes loan officers get into the more low hanging fruit, and versus really kind of digging deep and knowing what their worth is, and knowing it's okay to call those big producers and
Mhm.
share your concept with them. The worst thing they're going to do is tell you, yeah, I'm not interested, or I have a relationship already with the loan officer.
Mhm.
So I think that I did not scale it out for myself, but I did share it with other loan officers for them to use. And I would say, go for it. If anybody else is listening to the podcast, try it out for yourself. It did work for me, and it continues to work for me. So I really try to keep my referral partner relationships, again, to a tight circle. It's easier for me to uh, wrap my arms around them, show them that I'm committed to our business, have that relationship with my processor and my real estate agent referral partners. It's just easier for me to be able to control it if you're having it at a, not 100 agents. I mean, some people
Yeah.
might be able to take on more than 10 to 15, but for me personally, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a great call out there on the low hanging fruit. I think a lot of, the low hanging fruit, so to speak, it makes you feel good. They'll take your calls, they'll go to coffee, you'll have the meetings, but not always do they give the return on effort and investment there. Um, and then you've got this exclusivity or this bigger group, and now you're able to give them all of you because you don't have to work with so many realtors. You're not spread so thin. So I just think it's really smart. How did you have to manage any of those partners out? Like, how did you keep standards within that group, or were you fortunate to kind of have the group stay the same for a long time?
Well, I had the group stay the same for quite a while. I mean, it was, uh, keep in mind that this was basically COVID era. So I
Mm.
moved from a non-originating to an originating, like October of 2019. So that following, what was it, February or what have you, is when, the pandemic basically. So I was able to, that's when I really appreciated the fact that I only had those 12 to call on, because we weren't calling on people in person anymore. We all had to figure out how to communicate via Zoom and by telephone, and be able to be really good communicators that way without having to be in person, which was a hard concept for me to adopt, because I had been in the business for so long, And an old manager of mine used to call them belly to bellies. Like we would, you go and meet people, and you have face to face meetings, and so it was difficult for me to do that. So I was very thankful that I only had the 12 people to be able to stay in connection with, because at that time we all know with the interest rates as they were, loans were falling from the sky. So I didn't have to work too hard at getting those, but I did have to work very hard at retaining those relationships, because again, at the time, the consumer was, just because you have a relationship with a real estate agent, that real estate agent is saying, "Hey, please use Belinda. She's on our team. We've had success with her." They still can make the phone call to a competitor, and it's a race to the bottom, right? Well, they're giving me 2.5%, and Belinda, you told me it was going to be 3.5%. So it's still one of those things. If I have that tight relationship with a real estate agent, they can help with the, kind of control the situation, control the transaction, and keep that borrower in. So at that time, having just the 12 was a good thing. I have since a couple of my real estate agents have retired from the business, and so then I just basically kind of fill their position. So once somebody goes, I fill the position, and I do have one of the positions is filled by a team. They're a woman team, two women, so they have one spot. But yeah, I keep it pretty tight, and because it's easily manageable.
Yeah.
And again, it's all about those relationships. It's keeping the relationships, retaining the relationships, because you have to be able to get through thick and thin. You can't your operations is going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake. I've made mistakes. I just made one last week, calculating out subsequent use VA, and you have to be able to weather those storms.
Yeah. Well, and you kept it at a size that was manageable for you. And I just think that's really smart. Your eyes didn't get bigger than your stomach there. And you started to say, hey, give me 20, give me 30 partners. And then you're in a situation where you just can't, manage the relationships, and other things start to fall through the cracks. So I think it's really smart. Now, just to speak for a minute on your team, I know you mentioned that your processor is a formerly licensed loan officer, really prides herself on the technical side of the file. You went so far as to describe her as your right hand when we spoke before, and she takes things from contract to close for you. How did you find someone like that? And how do you think about the role of a great processor? Like, how does that play in the experience for referral partners with you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been in the business long enough to say that I've experienced processors of all caliber. I came across my processor, Maria, via another loan officer, another branch manager who was saying, "Hey, we have to have Maria on our team," and I'm saying, "Let's do it." So we hired her, and she quickly. A processor to me isn't just a processor, somebody that is internal with operations, taking your information and relaying it to an underwriter. It's more than that for me. So she's kind of a hybrid position, like because of her loan officer background, she has almost like a LOA, and she knows like guidelines and things like that. So almost like a junior loan officer maybe, and a processor, because she really geeks out on the processing side of things, getting running cavers and doing all things processors do. But she's very good at speaking to my communicating, I should say, with my clients and with my referral partners. And that is the key for me. I need somebody to say, so that my referral partners don't think I'm passing them off to somebody that is, a junior or something like that. I want them to feel that same tone throughout the whole transaction, whether they're dealing with me or whether they're dealing with Maria. I want them to feel that they're in really good hands and that she's quite capable of doing anything in my absence. So her having that loan officer background and her having just her communication skills is key. We don't want somebody that is like going to hide behind a computer, not be able to know how to divert questions. Like if there's somebody's asking about a rate or rate lock or something like that, she very easily doesn't answer. Like I've had processors in the past answer, well, I can't help you with that. I'm not a licensed loan officer. You're going to have to get with Belinda, blah, blah, blah. It's more like she is like, well, let's pull Belinda into this conversation instead of,
Yeah.
the hard stop being the gatekeeper. She has a way of communicating that works really well. So she was a gift. Basically, I didn't recruit her. I didn't find her. She was definitely a gift. And I plan on growing my business with her for many more years to come.
That's wonderful. That dynamic, that relationship for the loan officer is so key. I talk to so many people that's the reason they're staying where they are, or it's the person that has to come with them if they were to ever make a move. And so that relationship, though, it's essential for a loan officer to have a quality processor that's going to really help in those relationship dynamics too. Now, I'm going to call something out because I know more of this is going to happen in the industry here in the future. But your company just went through a merger. It was like a drinking by the fire hose moment, right? And so there's a lot going on. It's still very new for you. I've had some conversations privately with other executives where it sounds like there's more to come on that end in the industry, right? Like there's the cost of keeping up with the Joneses on technology. It's getting very expensive. Rates don't seem to be coming down anytime soon with what's happening globally in the world. It's a very interesting time for this industry. But what does that kind of transition cost you in terms of focus and energy? And how do you protect your team through something like that?
Yeah, really good question, Connor. And this is, I think mergers are they should call them something else other than a merger. It sounds just the tone sounds derogatory, and I think of it as more of a collaboration, right? So if
Like that.
two individuals, we wouldn't say they were merging. If we were going to grow a team, we would say, hey, let's collaborate. You're really good at tech. I'm really good at cost effectiveness with the production of loans. Let's combine these two together and collaborate to make a bigger, stronger, more efficient process. So, yes, definitely anytime there's change, I think, with in the loan officer world, there's a lot of us don't like change. It's awkward, it's difficult learning new systems, learning new processes. But if you just look at it with an open mind, that the basics of what you're doing remain the same. You just have to figure out how you're gonna to plug in and play, and you'll get through it. I mean, it's been. I'm thankful that the LOS is the same as where I came from, so I didn't have to learn that all over again, and that's a huge part of it. But there's other things that are the technology that we're adopting that is going to be a big change for myself and for my team. And I don't want to say that I would insulate them from that, but I would strongly encourage them just to embrace it, and let's see as a team how we can make this work and how we can implement the new ways of doing things to grow our business. Because there's a reason why that these technical things, or apps and things like that, are made. And for me, I take old school applications. I mean, most of my applications are over the phone, and I input them in the computer as I'm speaking to the person. But there's a lot of people that don't do it that way, and they really do need the technology. to share the app and things like that, because that might not be their forte. I'm thinking of a loan officer just off the top of my head that wouldn't do that. So constantly saying, "Hey, go to my app, go to my app, go to my app." So this new change, this merger, this collaboration is going definitely is a distraction. It does detract from your business for a minute. I grow my pipeline. Obviously, we all live, 90 days in the future. We don't want to be going into the next month without something on the pipeline. But it did take me a step back a little bit, just because we have to learn. And when you're coming from one company and still trying to close out loans, and we're licensing and getting your license over into the new company, it's all a distraction. It's taking your eyes off the prize. It's springtime, but at the end of the day, if you look at it with an open mind, it's still the mortgage business. You're still going to be doing the same thing. Your skill set is the same. Think of those changes and the other assets that you're getting as just more tools to help grow your business.
I think that's a great perspective. So, Belinda, as we wrap up here, I know I've asked you a lot of questions, but there might be something I haven't asked or something that you'd like to just share with the audience. So I want to give you an opportunity to do that. Is there anything on your mind or anything that you feel would be important to share with someone who's listening today that could bring value to them? And, I'll let you take the floor.
Oh, well, that's like huge open. We could sit here all day and talk about that, because I like geek out on the mortgage industry. Right? I've been doing this for almost 30 years. But I would say, our market is our market. We live in today. We don't know. People are always going to be buying houses. People are always going to be refinancing their houses. There's more than enough business out there for all of us. And just find your spot, find your people. I've been with a few companies throughout the years, and really, when I look back at it, my biggest successes, I was surrounded by people that were appreciative of what I brought to the table, and I was appreciative of what they brought to the table. So I would say just make it. Sometimes it's not about the almighty dollar or the almighty basis points. It's more about the people that you're surrounding yourself with to attract the business that you want, and to grow your business.
Great stuff right there. So, Belinda Price, thank you for joining the Lowdown. It's been great getting your story out there and just learning more about you. And love the VIP club. And, I wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Thank you, Connor.
Absolutely.